Hey everybody, this is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard. All right, so I want to go more deeply into some things that many people have been wanting me to talk about for years, which I have avoided. And the reason I've avoided it is because my focus is on my personal connection to, what is that? My focus is on my personal connection to the universe, and I'm interested in my personal growth, my personal evolution. So I just have never, it's not that I have been ignorant to the fact that there is a, this whole idea of conspiracies and people being corrupt and people seeking to have power and control the world. And it's not that I'm ignorant of that, it's just I don't care, because in my experience that never has not been the case. That's never not going to be the case. That is part of being human. And I don't see the world as a place that the soul comes to in order to create a utopia. I don't see that. I got nothing against it. I just don't see that that's what life is about. I see that life is about facing the challenges of finding and creating your own reality, your own world. And so up until now, I just haven't cared. I haven't cared because what I've seen is that the people who are negatively impacted by, corrupt powers that be are people who are not owning up to their own power. And this is one of the main lessons of life, that the soul comes here to be reminded that it is God. The soul is God. Everything that you're seeking for outside of you is inside of you. And so whether or not there are people, institutions, whatever, that are seeking to gain power and control over, that which can't be controlled, I just don't care. It's an illusion. They can chase after it. And it's a two-sided coin because, everything is a projection, right? So if we get into the mind of somebody supposedly who is an elite, a powerful elite person who has all of this economic and real power over others, like in a real sense, a dictator, a king, a tycoon of business, somebody like that. What is the projection of that person? The projection of that person who seeks more and more wealth, more and more power, the projection is that they are powerless. If they had power within themselves, they wouldn't seek for it outside of themselves. So conversely, what is the projection of the person who sees the mogul, the king, the tyrant, and wants to get into that power struggle and wants to talk about how they're doing it to us, etc., etc.? Well, the projection of that person is the same. The projection of that person is, I wish I were the one in control. And so this is the hypocrisy of those who spend all their lives crying about the elites and the conspiracies that try and take away, which is why they're always conflated. You almost never see somebody who just wants to focus on the physical, provable conspiracies. What they want to do is they can't help but conflate it into something else, which is why you have QAnon, which is why you have, before that you had David Icke. That it's not just that there are rich people who want to stay rich. It's that they are hybrid alien reptilian immortals. And it's not just that, but then it's these false beings of light that want to keep you from leaving this miserable, it's always conflated with that. And there's always this feeling of hopelessness. And if you understand that the position and the mindset of the corrupt, elite, rich, powerful person, if you understand that mindset is coming from is coming from a fallacy, that they can control anything, that they can have any control over this physical world, that they can actually conquer and control the world. I mean, that's insanity. When you understand that, then you understand that it doesn't have to have any negative impact on you. And of course, you also understand that if you're spending time whining and complaining about them and wanting to talk about who's doing what to you, then it means that you're projecting your desire to be that person, because that's what envy is. That's what jealousy is. You want what the other person has, and so it makes you envious or jealous. And again, those that are in control, the narcissistic tyrant dictator who sees the masses, the hoi polloi, the rabble, they don't have any emotional empathy. They can't relate to them. They don't see themselves in them, so they're tools for them to accomplish what they want, which is also seen. It's very hard for me not to listen to Bill Gates and not have this feeling that he really doesn't see people as people. I'm not judging him. I'm just telling the feeling that I get when I listen to him. When you see him and he's being interviewed about the pandemic and vaccines and stuff, as he's sitting there, he always has this smirk on his face. Do you notice that? He does this. And then he'll say something very important, and then he'll sit back and he'll smirk. And he smiles in weird places. People will something about the catastrophe of the pandemic, and he'll smile, and then he'll have an answer. And so, and the way that what's interesting is that we're seeing these elites that do exist, these incredibly rich billionaires who have their hands in all of this. The United States used to, which will fall apart soon, used to be into nation building, which was a very condescending way of saying, yeah, we're going to spread the American way of life. Everybody wants to be like us. We'll go teach them how to have a democracy. And it's a completely different culture that's functioning on some other level. And they're like, what is democracy? That's not how we function. Consumerist capitalist democracy, that's not who we are. But the condescension of our way is the best way. And so these elite global billionaires, as they don't talk about nation building, they talk about world building. And they talk about it in a way that if you were to sit them down and say, yeah, we're going to create a utopia. I mean, if you guys would just let us, if all the countries would just go away and all of the governments would just bow down to us and our money, we would create a utopia on Earth. And yeah, there's going to be losses. And, everybody's got to pull their weight and do their part. And so you can see that they see the world filled with all of these people as, their plaything. It's their Lego game. They're going to create a utopia. What's wrong with that? That'll be fun. Want it to be fun? I think it'll be fun. Just to give you an example, this is a video that the World Economic Forum put out. I got to put it up here because, as always, I was a little behind. see, I have to find it though. So let me look for it. If I can't find it, I won't put it up. I'll just cut to the chase. But I mean, it's important to see it because it's just so condescending. You know, at the very least, just incredibly condescending. Hang on, let me see. It's what is it now? Okay, so we'll look for that. Why aren't you showing me what I want to see? Sorry, I know it's, there it is. All right, so you can watch this, and all you need to watch is just the first opening line, because the rest of it is kind of nonsensical. But let's see. Here you go. All right, and then the rest is just sci-fi fantasy. But I mean, let's go back and look at, look at this guy's face. It's just so. This is an advertisement. Just look at this guy's face on the first prediction, which is the most outrageous one. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Look at him. His teeth are perfect. He's young. He's the fresh face of the future. This is 1984. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. I can't think of a more disempowering prediction, because it takes away individuality. I mean, this is an attack on, capitalism is definitely imperfect. We could talk about the founding of the United States. The 13 colonies. The English colonists came, and the Spanish. The European colonists came to the New World for one thing, and they came to find stuff. They came looking for gold. That was, everybody thought that, the Americas were just covered with gold everywhere, gold and diamonds, and and but that's what brought people over here, was to mine. I mean, I don't know that the Europeans initially thought of creating these giant landmass, colonies and nations. They just wanted the stuff. The kings and queens just wanted people to bring back a bunch of gold and silver and stuff like that. And then maybe slaves and all that other stuff. But it wasn't about, so capitalism is definitely not rooted in any spiritual idea of, equality and freedom. But there is an aspect to capitalism which is very empowering, which says that you can create your own life. You as an individual, you have something valuable that you can bring to the world, and when you are at your best in a competition with others who are trying to bring their best, the totality of that, breeds possibilities. It breeds empowerment, and all the things associated with that. And so what this is an attack on, this film, just that first thing, let's just watch it again. Look at that guy's, that guy, they had, I was an actor for a while, so I know what goes into creating movies and films, and, you have to audition for getting commercials. In fact, commercials, whenever you watch a commercial, here's something I learned as an actor. What my strength was as an actor was that I brought intensity to whatever I did. I brought a level of reality to whatever I did. and I would play bad guys. I liked playing evil bad guys because they were fun to play, because bad guys are only bad when they think they're good. So if I were to play Hitler, for example, in a movie, I wouldn't play him as this evil narcissist. I would play him as this misunderstood visionary who wanted to make the world perfect, and I knew what was wrong with it. And so what you would play is the frustration and the pain of people not understanding. When you see him, in those old films, and he's out there doing that other trade, his insight is, I want you to understand. I have the answer for the world. In his mind, he's a tragically misunderstood hero. Now, the reality is that he's a narcissistic psychopath. So, the short, what I was trying to get to is that when I would go to audition for commercials, it was horrific. Like I remember once doing an audition for some gum, and I was supposed to hold up the gum and smile, and they said, "You look like a serial killer." It's like, I don't know how to do that. And I came to realize that what works in television, things are different now, but back then you were either a film actor or you were a TV actor. Film actors were Robert De Niro. TV actors were Tom Hanks. And the difference is that TV actors weren't threatening. They didn't stimulate you into having too much of a feeling in one way or the other. So if you watch, like for instance, if you watch the Toyota commercials, I don't know if they still have that. There was like an attractive young woman that, plays like the Toyota girl. But if you notice, she's hot, but she's not too hot. She's hot, but she's not super sexy. She's somebody that you could see giving your kids to, and she'd make a good wife, but you don't fantasize about her sexually. She's just, hi, I'm not threatening at all. Don't you want to sit down and have some nice, refreshing, decaffeinated tea with me? And if you look at the men, same thing. They're attractive, but they're not super masculine. They're very engaging. You feel safe. And the idea behind television is that after you've had a hard day of work, working your ass off for a crappy wage in some company where there's no future, what you do is you come home, and what you want to do is you want to take your shoes off and you want to sit down and have a beer, and you want something to just numb you out. So you watch Friends, where people complain about, listen to the Friends song. Life's not going your way. Your love life's DOA. I know life is just so tough, isn't it? Me working at the coffee thing, and I'm hot and cute, and I'm young, and the tragedy of I broke a nail. It's just nonsense. It's nothingness. It's just pure sugar-coated cereal. There's no nutrients in it. You're not going to learn anything about yourself. You just want to be numbed out. And so the people will have this look. They will look like mannequins. They will be attractive. You can model clothes on them, but you won't feel too much one way or the other. And this is that. They auditioned that guy, that first guy that you see when they say, "You'll own nothing and you'll be happy." They auditioned that guy to put you in a state of receptivity, of, I don't have to own anything. Everything will be delivered to me. I can rent stuff. But what they're saying is, we're going to take away your individuality. You won't be able to go and create your own life, create your own career. The assumption is that you watching this, you're a peon. That's the assumption. It's not even, let's talk about it. It's directed to the average person who works for a company and gets paid for, just to survive. And they say, yeah, you'll just barely survive. But don't worry, you'll rent everything and we'll drop everything. It'll be delivered to your house. So take a look at this guy. Take a look at his face. Maybe I can even pause it so we can look at his face. But let's just watch him again. Look at him. You'll own nothing and you'll own nothing and you'll like it. And what does it say under there? Based on the input of members of the World Economic Forum's global future councils, they are planning your future for you, and you will be that guy. You won't have a full beard, you'll just have a little bit of stubble, which is kind of cool. And your teeth will be really nice, and you'll just be so sweet. And look at him. He is not threatening one way or another. He's not super hot that, women want to chase him down, but they would love to have him father their kid, maybe. He's great to settle down with. I mean, look at how nice he is. I could take him shopping. I could tell him what clothes he should wear. By the way, I can always tell the husband whose wife bought their clothes for them. They're middle-aged and they're overweight, but they're wearing the skinny jeans. It's just like, dude, man, you shouldn't have your wife dress you, please. Please. Dress yourself. But that's who this guy is. This guy, he's the worker everybody wants. He's the face of your company. He's going to sit at the desk and welcome you as you come in. He's going to be the maitre d' of your restaurant. Is he going to make any major decisions financially? No. He's going to sell your product. And he's not going to own anything. You'll be able to use him for the rest of his life as long as he has that smile. And once he doesn't look so good, maybe we'll put him in the mailroom where nobody can see him. That whole idea, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. It's the destruction of the individual. This is why people on the right can't stand progressives. Because the progressives, those on the left, the progressives are the ones that are being manipulated by the World Economic Forum, the billionaires who want to create a utopia. And let's be clear, the utopia they are creating is for them. It's not for you. I'll stop here and we'll watch more of this. By the way, this was a tweet that they put on Twitter, and people saw that and went, "What the hell are you talking about? You'll own nothing and be happy." And it was, they took the tweet off immediately after. People didn't understand, so they took it off. This is absolutely their manifesto. Let's keep going. Whoops. Oh, I need to go here. Whatever you want, you'll rent. From whom? You're going to rent it from somebody. And look at that. Does that look like a big house to you? No, that is an apartment. That is at best a townhouse. You're living, when you look at that, do you get the idea of living on your own property, surrounded by nature? No, you're living in a city. Let's keep going. The US won't be the world's leading superpower. Why? Because the United States has always traditionally represented capitalism, free market economy, competition, has always represented innovation and innovation in every. I mean, if you look at the majority of the inventions that have changed the world, you'll see a large portion of them in the United States, and that's that's not because there's anything special about Americans. I mean, America is a melting pot. There are people of all nationalities and cultures that come there. And because of just, if nothing else, the mythology of go to the new world, create your reality, it creates a mindset. I mean, you know, a lot of people move to the United States just to have that. You can be anything. People still have that experience. They go to the, you know, from other countries. You can be anything here. So they don't want that because these are corporations. Now, I'll explain more in a second here. This is no longer a world run by countries and governments. It's a world run by corporations. And these corporations are multinational. How do I know? Keep watching. A handful of countries will dominate. Why? Because the handful of countries they want to show you are the countries that have multinational corporations running them. And so it doesn't serve them. I mean, you know, you can be based in the United States, but you're going to have to outsource all of your labor to Thailand and China. So you don't want one country dominating, you want the corporations. So what's going to happen in their view is that governments won't govern the people. Corporations will. Corporations will govern you. And let's now go to their website. I don't have something for you to see here. I didn't take a screenshot of this, but and I'm trying to find the page that I want. Let's see. So if I don't find it right off, I'll let you know. Okay. Anyway, I'm even forgetting what it was that I wanted to point out. But what the World Economic Forum wants to do. Oh, now I remember. Stakeholder economics. So what they spend a lot of time talking about on the World Economic Forum is they spend a lot of time talking about the failure of other economic models. So they talk about the failure of communism. They talk about the failure of what is it? Free market economy, capitalism. They talk about the failure of that, and instead they offer what's called stakeholder economics. And so that's what you saw in the beginning, that you'll own nothing, you'll rent whatever you need, and everything will be given to you by the magical sky beings that drop in your food and your, you know, that is an appeal to your greed and to your need for security. There is no person with ambition who wants to create a business. There is no person with that likes seeing that. I mean, I work for myself. I can't stand the thought of working for somebody else. I'm definitely not a billionaire by any stretch of the imagination. But I have complete control over what I do, when I do it, how I do it. For somebody to tell me that I'll own nothing and that I'll rent, which I don't have a problem renting for the rest of my life. But the idea is that it's telling you won't own anything. And that's the first thing that they tell you. The first thing they tell you is you won't own anything. And that appeals to somebody who doesn't like living in, a capitalist society. So again, what does the liberal agenda try and tell you? The liberal agenda says you don't have to be a mogul of business. In fact, we will give social programs to help you be okay. Now, again, I got nothing against any of that. I've got a social security number. The social programs, I have no problem with those things. So there's a difference between socialism and, communism. There's a big difference. And there's nothing wrong, there's all kinds of socialist institutions. You got a local PTA. That's a socialist institution. You have, you pay taxes so that your streets will be paved and that you'll have fire and emergency services, and that your kids can go to school for free. Those are all socialist institutions. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when you've got one giant entity doing everything for you. Then it becomes communism. But as you've seen, as I think I said, by the way, go to my other channel on Odyssey if you want to hear me tell you what's really going on. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, the whole idea is that stakeholder economics. Here's the thing about the World Economic Forum. It assumes, it doesn't even tell you, here, let me walk you through where we're going to change from where we are now to where we want to be. They just assume that you want to live in a huge city, that you want to work for somebody, and that you want to feel taken care of by Big Brother. They just assume that you want that. That's why the first word on that was, you'll own nothing and be happy. And the fact that they had the balls to put that on a tweet and not think about how people were going to react to that shows the condescension and the assumption that they have that, well, you want somebody to take care of you, right? Right. So if you want us to take care of you, then, that means you don't get to decide what you do. I mean, you can apply for whatever position you want in the corporation, but I mean, you want us to take care of you, right? I mean, we're the billionaires. So it didn't even dawn on them that people were going to react negatively to the idea that what you're saying is you're going to make us slaves. You want us to be slaves in your giant corporation. Again, that's what stakeholder economics is. It means that you are part of a corporation. And when you read through the World Economic Forum, their websites, the assumption is they're constantly talking about companies and corporations. That's the only. It's like they can't think beyond that. And if you were to talk to them about something different, they would go, "What do you mean? I mean, we're already running the world. I don't understand what you're talking about. You're already part of a corporation. Don't you want a stake in that? We're going to give you a stake in it, but nothing's for free." And if you read the website, they'll talk about all kinds of social programs where they'll talk about billions of dollars that they're giving to people, as if those billions of dollars are free gifts. They're not. That's part of your stakeholder economic holding. And the idea isn't that you have a choice between going and creating your own mom and pop business. I don't want to own a corporation. I just want to have my own business and make enough money to live my life and do my craft and enjoy what I enjoy doing. You're not even given that option. Not only are you not given that option, it's just not even in their assumption. They get this weird look on their face. What do you mean? What do you mean you want to have your own, just a mom and pop? What do you mean you want to have your own farm? You don't want to own the whole countryside? By the way, I just saw that Bill Gates owns the most farmland in America, something like that. This whole idea of you having your own business. The whole dream of the United States was that people were coming from Europe and they wanted to have their own piece of land, which meant they wanted to have their own farm. They wanted to have their own little business. They just sure there were guys that wanted to be titans of industry and all of that, but it was still this idea that you could carve out your own little niche just for yourself. I saw on there as well, and I talked about it in my other video, which really struck me, was that part of what the World Economic Forum wants to do is they want to change and reform intellectual property rights. And I went, why in the world would you want? What is that about? They want to have control over even your thoughts and your ideas. They want to take over your rights if you're an artist. You know, they have copyright laws for films and for paintings. You know, I mean, you are given credit for your creation. They want to change that. They want to modify that. They want to own everything. You're a stakeholder. It's communism. It's just a rebranding of communism. But instead of a government, instead of the state, which is communism was the state, instead of the state, it's the corporation. The corporation isn't one country. It's multinational. It's in multiple countries. That's why they say a handful of countries will dominate. What countries will those be? The countries where the corporations have their fingers in everywhere. Yeah, it's not going to be, in the Congo. It's not going to be in the jungles of Africa. It's not going to be at the North Pole. It's not going to be Greenland. It's not going to be these isolated little places where, although there's corporations, multinational corporations in Iceland. But the idea is, the dominant global financial countries, the countries that have all of the multinational corporations. I could go on and on. I'm starting to repeat myself, but if you want to understand what this has to do with the global pandemic, go to my other platform, which is odyssey.com, and then look for thunderwizard.com, because I'm going to tell you how this whole pandemic plays into all of it. This thing is a lot bigger than you realize. So before I open it up to questions, of course, you all have fucking opinions, I know, and you're going to flood the airwaves with your thoughts and your opinions. But the way out of it is to focus on what keeps you as an individual, and that's your soul. This is what the goal of this is, to take your soul away. So we have 3 phases of the matrix. We're in the 3rd phase now. There's a light form of the matrix, which is spiritual evolution, and then there's the dark form of the matrix, which is what we're talking about now, the mundane physical aspect of the matrix, which wants to control your physical body. The first phase was spiritual and psychological, and that was the advent of Abrahamic monotheism, where you were a sinful being that had to be dominated by this one God in the sky who looked down on you, and he had a plan for you. You can't have a plan for yourself. In fact, you can't even have an ego or any pride. You have to be part of his plan. And if you follow all of his commandments, then you love him and he will love you back. If you do not follow every single one of his commandments to the letter, then he thinks that you hate him. And if you hate him, he will hate you. And then he will curse you and blah, blah, blah. And then we get Christianity, which then makes it even further, which says, well, your soul, you're evil and you're going to be thrown in hell unless you accept this belief. You accept this belief that Jesus is the Son of God and he died on the cross for your sins, then you will be allowed into heaven. And so your individuality is completely taken away from you on a psychological and spiritual level. And they talked about the 4th Industrial Revolution in the World Economic Forum. And that is significant because the second phase of the Matrix was where the matrix took over your intellect, and they separated the intellect from the mind, separated your mind from your soul, and that's when we had the the Industrial Revolution. That's when we had the Reformation of the Church, which it became more dogmatic. This is when you had humanism starts to arise. But these are all intellectual ideas that separate you from your spirit, from, again, your identity. Your identity is taken from you. But it's pseudo put out there with this idea, again, a utopian idea of man can perfect himself through technology. That was the second phase, and that was around 1700s. And the third phase started in the beginning of the 20th century. And now we're seeing it move into this final phase of the matrix, which is a digital biomatrix. It's really the Wi-Fi matrix. And they're going to seek to hook up your physical body to the Wi-Fi. And not in a lot of the ways that you guys think. Your instincts are right, but you're conflating a bunch of sci-fi movie stuff to what's actually going on. So it's really important, as I said before, to not to conflate. Don't start dumping on here and telling me all this stuff about what you think is going on, because most of it is going to be conflated. You're going to be operating from your instinct, and your instinct is telling you these things, but your mind will create symbols. Like the movie The Matrix is a symbol. It's not an actual description of what the Matrix is. It's a symbolic representation so that emotionally you can relate to it. But we have to understand how it's actually being done. All right? So the way out, this is what all this is for. All this stuff that I'm doing here, especially this. The more that you tap into this power of your soul, this energy that surrounds and protects your soul, the emperor's bodyguard, because right now there is a spiritual war against your soul. If the powers that be had their way, they would eliminate it. They would eliminate your soul. They don't see it. They are soulless. They are a corporation. And they are seeking to have you bow down and become part of the corporation. And they're saying corporations are going to run the world. We're going to seek to get rid of nation states. We're going to seek to get rid of they even say we're going to get rid of the United States. Again, I'm not attached to the United States one way or another. I'm just telling you their thought process. This giant ideal of the self-made individual, even if it's just mythology. That mythology of the self-made individual is what's keeping them from having complete control of the world. And in order to do that, they have to get rid of the idea of countries and turn it into a big giant corporation. And then you get to be a stakeholder in that while they run the world. All right? So in order to fight that attack on your sovereignty, you must find ways to protect your soul. And so that's what we do here. We work with the third energy. There's three energies in the body. There's chi, which is energy, prana, life force, breath energy. There's kundalini, which is the energy of your psyche, which travels up the spine and works with the nervous system. And then there is the heart mind, the lightning power that surrounds your soul. So this is, if you want to know the symbolism of Vishnu, in Vedic Hinduism, there's Vishnu. There's the Trinity, which is there's Brahma, the creator. There's Shiva, the evolver, which is your third eye. And then there's Vishnu, which is your heart. And the word Vishnu comes from the same word that we get in the Norse Trinity, which is Odin, Vili, and Ve. Ve means sacred space. Vishnu is the protector. It means that he holds the space so that your individual identity can exist. And that's why he incarnates in the mythology to always fight against the oppressors. So every incarnation of Vishnu is he's fighting against the oppressors that want to take away your individuality, the demons. And so the power that surrounds the soul is this lightning energy. And that lightning energy is self-contained. It's self-contained until you flip the switches, which is what I teach here on the free channel here, as well as on the subscriptions and the other services. I'm teaching you literally the physical movements that you can do that will open up that power. And that's why I give you, let's see, where is it? I give you the Awakening the Immortals for free. That's here's the Mao Shan practices right here. But I give you where is it? I give you this for free as well. This is the Immortal Qigong. And that is something that, all of those movements, what they do is they literally flip the switches. I give you this one for free because I don't want you to just take my word for it. If you don't want to, buy this, or you don't want to subscribe there, great, here, do this. In fact, I dare you to do this practice every single day. I dare you to do it for a month. And if you don't have radical changes, and if you don't have a huge, crazy energy experience that goes beyond anything you've ever done, including yoga, tai chi, meditation, shamanism, if it doesn't blow the crap out of that, then come on here and I'll apologize for wasting your time. But these movements, they look like normal Qigong, or right there, that looks like normal, maybe weird Kung Fu kind of stuff. And it is all those things, but there are specific movements that stimulate specific meridians that go right here, which release that lightning that is normally self-contained. It is this lightning that is necessary to fight against the corrupt corporations that want to control you. They want to own you, but in order to do that, they have to take your individuality away. All right, so that's my solution to all of that. And that's the only, I offer you what I have. If you got a better way, feel free to go do it. But we need to fight against this. Just recently, I was going to call him Trump. Can you believe it? I almost called him Trump. Biden has mandated that everybody get the jab or they won't be able to work. I mean, in other words, he might as well have said, if you don't get the jab, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you're homeless. I mean, there's really, what else is there? And this is the direct result. This kind of control of controlling every aspect of your life and your body, every aspect of your choice. This is one manifestation of this one world corporation. Actually, it's a conglomeration. It's a bunch of corporations that work together to get rid of competition, to get rid of individuality, to create this perfect utopia for themselves. And you get to be the worker that works in their corporation to create the utopia for them. That's why Bill Gates is so interested in a real thing, which is global warming. He wants to get rid of that. The reason they want to get rid of poverty, they want to get rid of all that stuff, because all those things get in the way of them owning this cute little retreat called planet Earth. They want it to be pretty and nice and beautiful, and they don't want, they don't want these pesky capitalists getting in their way of controlling things. They don't want these pesky, this is again why people on the right are anti-globalists, why they're so afraid of other cultures, why they hate the idea of refugees. Because even though they're misguided in that, what they do intuit correctly is that this corporation is trying to get rid of any individuality. And so, like the people who stormed the Capitol, a study was done which showed that the majority of them were white males who lived in communities that used to be predominantly Anglo-Saxon. And these are communities where the racial makeup was starting to change and becoming more multiracial. They don't like that. Now that's the mistake that they make, that they're mistaking race and culture for a destruction of the individual, which it's not. But they are intuiting something accurate, which is the reason why Fox News is constantly talking about the liberal socialist agenda, is because it is true that these global corporations want to get rid of culture. They want to get rid of individuality. But you gotta be smart about what it is they're trying to do. So again, they can gaslight everybody if you become this idiot racist who storms the Capitol and white power. If you don't understand that that's not what this is about, then you can be easily marginalized, and you'll be, as has happened. They're all in jail now. They should be. They broke the law, but they didn't have the awareness to understand that what's at stake is their individuality, not their racial identity. Right? So we got to be smart about this. In order to do that, we've got to have compassion. We can operate from compassion and still fight evil. We can still use this power of the heart to use the power of Vishnu, the warrior who destroys the oppressors. For instance, one of Vishnu's, the Venus vibration of Vishnu is, what's his name? Parashurama. It means Rama with an axe. And Venus is the planet of peace and love and friendship. But when Parashurama, who is the Venusian vibration of the heart center, when he shows up, he chases down all of the corrupt religious leaders and kills them. And then he has to go do penance for all the murders that he committed. What I'm trying to say is that this heart center, which operates from compassion, is also a warrior. It's a warrior that seeks to destroy evil. And this is, now I'm starting to understand why the past 30 years, why at age 17 I was, I didn't even learn it. I just found I had this ability to exorcise demons out of people. I could put my hand on somebody and cast demons out of them. I don't know where that came from then. I didn't know, but now I know. Why do you think I've learned all this stuff? Why am I releasing this onto the world right now? Because now's the time. These technologies have been in the making for 2,000 years. So that now if you want to use the most powerful weapon you have against tyranny, you have it. It's not storming the Capitol. It's, go ahead and march all you want. It's not marching in Black Lives Matter. It's not marching in, storming the Capitol. These are, it's not being Antifa. It's not creating a militia where you get guns. Guns aren't going to do it. Because all the corporations have to do is just starve you out. As long as they starve you out, you'll conform. They will, at the very least, take advantage of a virus that is going through the world and then force you to get the jab. They will find ways to force you into conformity. Your ways of doing it aren't working. It has to be done with energy. And that's what this is about. If you want to really be a warrior against it, and that's my way. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but it has to come from your soul and you fighting for your soul, not for your race, not for your country, but for your individuality, your soul. Okay? All right, I'll get off my high horse for the moment. I'll take a look if there's any questions. I prefer questions. If you have a question, write the word question in all caps and then ask it. To be honest, I'm really not interested in you cheerleading me or agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. I want honest questions and honest feelings. Having said that, if you do put something down, you're putting yourself into my crosshairs, and I'll probably psychoanalyze you. I'll show you how you're missing the boat, why you've gone too far in one direction. So just know that going into it. So Vincent.thunderwizard.com, he says hello. He's got his own website. He is one of my astrologers that I've certified. He does my style of Vedic astrology. You can go to his website, Vincent.thunderwizard.com. You can also go to astrology.thunderwizard.com if you want to see all the other astrologers that I've certified, and if you want to get a reading. So go take a look at that. All right. Yeah, like I said, everybody's got, you guys don't follow the suggestions, do you? You guys have been on here before, you know the drill. But because it's such a hot button topic, you all have to dump your opinion. You all have to show that you understand, or you got to, I understand. You got to get it off your chest. All right, what else? I'm not going to read any of that stuff. Agent of the Universe question. What does the thunder standing posture relate to the T-pose glitch in video games? What? What are you talking about? You know the drill. You're supposed to ask me questions about stuff I teach. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. What else? Let me see. Did I miss something? Does the thunder standing posture relate to the T-pose glitch in video? I don't know. No idea. What else? Zeralath question. What is your read on Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum and his strange black costume? I don't have a read on that. Look, guys, let's focus on what's important. Do not conflate. Focus on the practical solutions. When you get involved in conflation, when you get involved in personalities and you start attacking people's personality, it's a waste. It's a distraction. So I don't know. Listen, here's what you can benefit from me about this. I'm going to be a little bit full of myself here for a second. I think I am a pretty good critical thinker. I also think I'm pretty good at seeing what the unconscious agenda is of people. And this is why I can, in 10 seconds, I know what the World Economic Forum is all about. I haven't studied it. I've just looked at it in the past few days for the first time. All of you have been spending years studying it. I've just looked at it, and I already know what it's all about. In one paragraph, I've got the whole thing. Maybe I don't have all the details, but I got the basics of it. So what you can gain from me is that I'm going to keep you, if you want, I'm going to keep you focused on what's important here, which is the levers of control that you really want to fight against. You want to get into all this conflation, it's a waste of time. If you want to listen to what's his name? If you want to listen to David Icke, and you can conflate all you want, and you can get all the self-indulgence out of making it personal and personalizing it, you can go do that all you want. He's right for the wrong reasons. If we're going to beat these guys, we have to be right for the right reasons. So I don't have an answer to your question, Zeralath. Agent of the Universe questions. Should we destroy the corrupt Agent of the Universe, your issue is you tend to go to extremes. So don't talk like that on my channel. Don't get me in trouble. I am not in any way inciting any kind of violence. If you do this stuff, you can be bulletproof no matter what they're doing. Look, it's not like this hasn't been going on the whole time. It has. But what these guys are doing is they are if they're not outright manufacturing worldwide catastrophes, they are at the very least taking advantage of them to control you. And that they don't have to control you. Even if they're doing whatever they're doing, if you're doing this work, you will be bulletproof. I've proven it in my life. I've always, avoided all of the big major, world disaster problems just by following what my soul wants. Your soul knows what it needs to do. So stop thinking like that. I know how you think, and I know why you think that way. It's not helpful for you to go there. Again, I'm looking for the questions and the honest feelings. You guys don't seem to be, this is a hot button topic. Agent of the universe, honest feeling. This topic about the corrupt rich exploiting us stimulates my rage and resentments and makes me want to cut the parasites out of the earth. Yeah, so this is where you need to get out of your own, this is your projection. Remember what you used to call yourself. You used to call yourself, what was it? Immortal dictator, God, omnipotent Lord, whatever the hell it was. The reason why you did that is because you want to be them. So your need, your rage that you're feeling is actually your envy. You want to be those people. On an unconscious level, if you could snap your fingers and be Bill Gates, you'd be it. So you need to own that. Remember what I said in the beginning is that it's a projection. When they project onto the world from this giant global corporate mindset where, why don't you just want to be one of the peons? It means that on an unconscious level, they feel, even though Bill Gates has billions and billions of dollars, he feels poor. He feels insecure. He feels insignificant. He feels that he has no control over anything. So his projection is, he projects that onto you by saying, hey, why can't you just be part of the masses? Why can't you be part of the stakeholder economy? It's because the way he sees you is his projection of how he sees himself. So the victims, those like Agent of the Universe, who now your rage is stimulating your victim mentality, you're projecting onto them when you see them as these evil, all-controlling, elite lords of light, half reptilian, super beings. That's because that's what you want to be. That's your projection of what you want to be. It's all the same thing. If you're in the middle, in your heart, if you are empowered by the lightning of your soul, then you're not intimidated by them. I mean, I'm very concerned and disturbed by what's going on. It hurts me when I think about it. I'm not worried about it, though. I'm not worried about them being able to do anything to me. My soul will always find a way around all of it. And the thing is that it only works if we let it. This last push, this last desperate push to force people to take the jab is an example. You're seeing that, those powers that be, which I will not mention, who are behind all of this, they're desperate because they know they're losing their window. Vaccinated people are getting sick now at much higher rates. So pretty soon people are going to realize there's a diminishing returns. Pretty soon people are, everybody, even those that are completely blinded by the whole thing, are going to go, wait a minute, but it's not protecting me. And that guy got the jab and he died the next day. So people are going to wake up. So before that happens, they have to do something crazy like this, which is, the president has, people talking in his ear, telling him what to do. And he thinks he's being in control. He doesn't realize he's being totally manipulated. And so this is a last attempt, it's a strong arm push. They don't want to do it this way. If you listen to Bill Gates a year ago, somebody was asking him, how long do you think this is going to last, the pandemic? And he was talking about the jab. And he said that he had expected that the United States would have handled it better. Translation: he just assumed everybody in the United States would line up to get the jab. He doesn't understand why they won't do it. So you see now they're running out of time, and Biden's not going to be successful at this latest attempt. I mean, it's going to blow up in his face. I mean, to be honest, it was the biggest blunder I've ever seen of any president ever. For him to go up there to talk down to people, to talk about his patience is running thin, and he's going to put $14,000 fines, $14,000 fine on business owners if they don't force their employees. I mean, that is such an overreach. There's no way that's going to work. It's going to completely blow up in his face. Hopefully not literally. It's going to, people, there's no way the people of the United States are going to do that. It's just not going to happen. So what you're seeing from the elite here, which is they're flipping out. And so this is the last gasp. If they don't get this, last push, then they're going to have to wait for the next global crisis to take advantage of. And so just stay true to your soul and say no to unjust, interference of your rights. Just say no. If you say no, they'll lose their power. Because what they don't want, let's watch it again. They don't want to scare you. They want to seduce you into it. They want you to think it's a great idea, right? Like they want you to be like this guy. They want you to be happy about it. Let's see, where is he? They look at this, 8 predictions for the world, and they want you to be this guy. They don't want you to be afraid. They want you to just, be happily turned on by the whole idea. I mean, who doesn't want, drones dropping in your front door of your little tiny apartment and give you everything you wanted? Who doesn't want that? Look how happy he is. So for them to go to this level of threatening you and literally threatening to make you homeless or threatening to destroy your business, because I mean, think about it. He's threatening to make people homeless. And he's threatening to destroy people's business if they don't comply. That's somebody who's not, who isn't operating from a sense of security. So they could lose this. And the best weapon you have against them is your non-compliance. If you overreact, and if people overreact and they do something stupid, like they get violent, then it's going to consolidate their power, and it's a way to gaslight you, and it's going to give them more power to send in the armies and send in the police. So don't do that. Just refuse to comply to the things that you have real control over. Right? Okay. What else? All right, let's see if there's any questions here again. Okay, I'm not looking for your opinions. I know you have them, and they're the most important opinions in the world. Agent of the Universe question: how come the Maoshan masters do nothing about corporations? So, Agent of the Universe, don't be offended by what I'm going to say. You need to grow up a little bit. Okay? It's time to not be a kid. You're talking like a 4-year-old. This is how 4-year-olds talk. How come the Maoshan masters do nothing? What makes you say they're doing nothing? I mean, for the first time in history, this is being given out to the world. The people who are doing this, including yourself, are having radical transformations. The way to fight them is to transform yourself. It's not to fight them. If you fight them, they win. If you do something, like I said, you're just buying into that and you're giving them an excuse. Just don't Just hold on to your identity, and when it comes to things like somebody knocking on your door, here, can we put this needle in your arm? You're going to say no. No, I'm not going to do that. If everybody does that, they lose their power. Because you have to be a stakeholder in their economy. You have to choose. You have to sign the contract. By the way, when you go to get the jab, they will read to you, you know that this can cause death, right? Oh, you're okay with that? Okay, jab. You still have to give your permission. It says right there on the box, you know, the adverse effects that might happen to you. So that's just one example. You have to volunteer. If you don't volunteer, and if everybody chooses to not volunteer to be part of the corporation, then the corporation loses its power. It's the illusion that they have power over you. That's an illusion. It won't be an illusion if you give them power, though. All right, what else? Jedi Black Knight question. If I keep doing the Maoshan wood set, will it eventually activate the meridians for the other elements as well? Yeah. Because wood contains all the other elements. So I can't say no to that question. But the thing is that when you do these 5-element exercises, you'll notice that you'll reach a plateau where you feel like I'm missing something. Then you move on to the next element. And then when you do the next element, you'll be like totally literally out of your element. And you won't know what's going on. The hand here. And then you'll go back and do the previous one and you'll go, oh, now I get it. So each successive element will teach you about the element before. So you want to move on. You want to move to the other ones. I think we're up to fire now. I'm about ready to put water up, which is a really cool element. Let's see, where's water? There's water right there. I'm doing it right there. Yep, that's pieces of the water element. All right, what else? Corey, question. Will the new mandate, my workplace may soon mandate the jab, do you think one of the main 3 is less harmful than the other? I'm not going to answer that question because that's not something I can do here. I can't answer that question here, sorry. I wish I could answer it, but as you've noticed, I've deleted a bunch of my videos because if I continue to keep talking like I was, you know, they'll hunt me down and terminate my YouTube channel. So if you want me to answer that question, I will on the Odyssey site. So go there, subscribe to the odyssey.com Thunder Wizard platform, and I'll be happy to answer that question. 7LV, blah, 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 honest feeling. I do Thunder Qigong plus summoning immortals plus celestial Qigong in one go, and I feel practices like these will develop the mental inner strength needed to get through these dark times, no matter how bad it gets. The only way through is to become unbreakable. Yeah, so when you do these practices, there will be this feeling of, well, first off, what will happen is you'll have to become conscious of all of your unconscious feelings. You won't be like that guy who looks, you know, the guy on the World Economic Forum film where you won't be like that guy. You will have, your negative feelings will come up, you'll be honest, you'll be real, but then there will be this feeling of power and strength, and also this feeling of vulnerability and compassion. So you learn what the true strength of individuality and love is. You'll learn the difference between codependence and compassion. You'll learn the difference between ego and self-empowerment. This is really what the lesson of the heart is. This is the lesson of Vishnu. What else? Juan Caballero. Is that a question? It's not a question. All right, so that's it. I don't see any more questions. I think I've Is that everything I need to say? Again, go to, well, I'll show you where to go. Go to, is that it? What's going on here? Why is that so tiny? Go here. If you look up on the left there, Odyssey, ODYSEE.com, and then you'll see my Thunder Wizard site there. So go to Odyssey, ODYSEE.com, and then just search for thunderwizard.com. And you'll see there's some videos that I've deleted. Go there to really get, if you really want to go deep into the rabbit hole with me. What else? Film sample CG, honest feeling. I'm doing the 90-day challenge for some time, and there's something about it where I feel like everything makes sense and everything is going well, and it happens that way. Yep. When I commit myself in 90-day challenge, I feel like all the problems in my life is deciding to go away simply because I'm doing the practices. Yeah, because you're not buying into the manipulation, the stimulation. You know, when you get stimulated, you react. You know, like jujitsu. You know why jujitsu is such a good self-defense is because the jujitsu guy is waiting for you to commit. When you commit to some movement, you open up and you give him an arm or something like that, and then he can put you in some kind of hold. When you don't extend yourself, when you don't overcommit, there's nothing for somebody to take advantage of. So when you respond in either of the two ways that the elites want you to respond, they want you to do one of two things. They want you to either be seduced into this feeling of, it's a false feeling of being connected to the whole, of community. It's a false feeling of community. Because it's not, it's a corporation. And if you allow yourself to buy into your selfish fears and your own corrupt need to have somebody take care of you and not have to worry about anything, which is not what life is about. Life is about overcoming your challenges, overcoming your karma. It is an adventure. It's a video game. You're not meant to be put in that state. That's death. So you can respond out of your greed, your need to be taken care of, your laziness, or you can respond out of your fear. And if you respond out of your fear with violence and aggression and anger and conflation, and because that's, if you want to know how not to react on that side, look at Fox News. Fox News and the Republicans, they're overreacting negatively. They can sense that their freedoms are at stake, but instead of just going, no, I'm not going to do that, they flip out because they're afraid. That's why they create, militias, because they're afraid. I mean, we're going to get a bunch of my buddies together, and this guy was in the army, and we're going to go out in the backwoods of Michigan, and we're going to fight against that's just an overreaction. You're going to be manipulated. If you don't think, those of you in militias, if you don't think that the government is watching you from the sky and could totally just drop you in a second, if you don't think that, you're an idiot. Do you think guns are going to protect you from that? You're an idiot. So that's one overreaction. The other overreaction is the liberal, I guess what they call critical race theory now, where again, people are operating from real intuitive understanding. So the gun-toting Republicans are right in that somebody's trying to take away your freedom here. They're trying to put you in the corporation. Your fear of socialism is accurate. You don't know what you're afraid of really, so you're just afraid of everything that seems to be like it. You're wrong about that. But the other side, they have an instinct of, we need to focus on everybody's rights. We need to focus on everybody, they want to focus on equality. Everybody should have the right to clean air, to health care, to food, to fresh air, we should be looking out for each other. That's true, but then of course that is manipulated by the elite who say, yeah, become part of the corporation, be a stakeholder. So both of these are overreactions. You have to be in the middle. And the middle says, I'm an individual. I have my own rights, and I have the right to create my own destiny. And I also want to contribute to the whole. I want to be somebody, I'm happy to give of my excess to help the guy next to me pull himself out of the, this is what equal rights was all about. This was, why all that stuff that conservatives get all pissed off about, But, all of these things are coming from right instincts. We just have to be in the center. And in the center, you're not pulled to one extreme or the other because you're self-empowered. You're not insecure. Both of these are insecurity. The need to project onto, condescendingly project onto those of other races or those who are less fortunate, and we need to give them what they can't give to themselves. That's a projection. You feel you can't accomplish anything, so you're going to project that onto others. The other side is a projection as well. You feel so weak and insecure that you have to overcompensate by, creating a militia. It's all coming from insecurity. And the person who's secure doesn't need to do either one of those things. And nothing sticks. So again, you're fighting the jiu-jitsu guy. The way to beat the jiu-jitsu guy is don't commit. In boxing, what do? They look for the guy to jab. And the moment that they see his shoulder move, they know he's about to jab, and that's when they pop. They get in there first. They wait for you to open up. You're all covered up. You go to jab, boom. That's what. Have you noticed that boxers will sometimes they'll both hit each other at the same time? They'll both jab each other and they'll both knock each other's heads back. It's because you're looking for somebody to overcommit. If you don't overcommit and you're empowered, then there's no weak spot. Does that make sense? What else? Okay, so no one, welcome to the channel. This is a question and answer. It's really great that you have an opinion. You can put that on your channel if you want. I'm not going to read it. What else? Nothing else? No other questions? All right, so that's it. You guys know where to go. The links are here for a reason. Go to, again, odyssey.com. Look for Thunder Wizard if you want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. By the way, on that platform, we can also do live streams. Okay? So if you want me to do live streams where I go in depth on the jab and all that other stuff, that's where we're going to do it. All right. Nothing else here that I need to address. So that's it from you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you when I see you.